Stop there. We're going towards top. 1, 2, 3. Keep it going, 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 Ned. Keep it going. One, keep it out, Ned. Push her out, push her out, push her out. Push her out. Push her out, don't worry.
I'll just get this boat back out in the way.
I'm setting up a display tent as it would be in 1914. So I'll have the bed set out for duties. So you sleep over in the tent instead of going back to your own personal tent. Table and chairs with a writing desk and information on the side. These would have been what they would have used, but mainly for senior NCOs and officers. Not the average soldier would have all this.
Well, I've always had a flair for drawing and painting. About 20 years ago I got very interested in local history and I started doing a cartoon history of Ireland, and recently now coming up to the gun running I thought well, the easiest way for people to comprehend as quick as they could what happened at the time of the gun running would be to do a sort of a pictorial history. And over the period of a few weeks, I compiled a sort of a story. I got much of the information from the committee here, so I tried to base it on it. I got involved as an individual. I just contributed a few paintings, drawings that I'd done, given a simple pictorial history, and a few old maps that might enlighten people about the past, Kilcoole's past, which is, I see it's not even scratched yet. There's a huge depth of history there.
months planning has gone into this. A community group got together across all sides of the divide in the town, and there isn't that big a divide, can I tell you, but everybody got together to celebrate what is really a momentous occasion for Kilcoole, the centenary of the Kilcoole Gunrunning from 1914. We have been forgotten in this little piece of history. Chotah was always at the forefront, and we're making sure that Kilcoole is on the map this year. It's hugely important because we have played an integral part in the history of our country. There's people in this town who still live here, whose ancestors were part of this. And so it's only right and fitting that we acknowledge them, we say thanks to them, and then with the centenary coming up in 1916, we know that we have played a major part in that too. So this is a community celebration. First and foremost, that's what it's all about, and we hope that everybody really enjoys it. And what we're hoping, we've set up a heritage group in the town, that this is the start of a festival for Kilcoole for years to come.
We have a range of events around the country. Official commemorations will take place at Chotah tomorrow, but we're interested also to support the community events as they're arranged at Glendalough House and here today. We think it's important the full heritage of the weekend is known. For us, Kilcoole is as important as Chotah. It's all part of an important strand of history without which the rising may not have unfolded. It shows the involvement of the community, and that's the important thing that we have here today. The strong number of the community that have come to participate and support this commemoration testifies well to what's to come in the next couple of years. One of the important projects that we have in the Centenary programme is the digitisation for release online of the old IRA records. We have 300,000 files relating to 50,000 people with service records in the independence struggle. That connects to almost every family in Ireland. It's important that people know what has happened, and we think at community level, at personal level, that's the way that people will engage with it.
It's lovely to see so many people here turning out today. On behalf of myself and William Bennett, our local rector, we're delighted to be part of your celebration here today. We're delighted in many ways because as I was looking at the little flowers, the lily and the poppy, I was only talking to somebody yesterday about where the poppy came from when the burial grounds in the war, covered in the graves. Next year came up these lovely red flowers called the poppies. So we're here to remember them in front of our lovely old graveyard here at Lot Lane. Many of the people that you're honouring here today, many of the people that you're praying for here today are probably buried here or at Newcastle. We're all pacifists at heart, of course, and we appreciate, though, where we are by looking at our history. We don't know our future, if we don't know our past. And we're here today to honour all good Irish people, all good people of Kilcoole, especially ancestors of these young people here on my right-hand side, people who are part of who we are.
One of the things that history teaches me, especially when we think about something like the gunrunning in Kilcoole, is that it had nothing to do with religion. It was very much a cross-community. In fact, many of the leaders at that time were members of the Church of Ireland, and many of them were even Presbyterians. But today, we're here to celebrate, to learn from the past, to celebrate together, and to thank God for those who were willing to sacrifice so that whatever they believed in strongly could be accomplished for the generations to come.
I think the importance of the ecumenical service was that as we discovered more of the story, that the story of Kilcoole was a community story in Kilcoole, but it involved a lot of other people and a lot of people in other communities and faiths. So we did have Church of Ireland members, there were Quakers and there were Catholics. So the ecumenical service was an opportunity to recognise the contribution of the different range of communities that were involved. The whole history around this area is very confused between the First World War and any of the actions that people took against the British state. And the poppy itself is a symbol of the fallen of World War I. It's where it was established as a symbol. And the lily itself then became a symbol from 1926 on as a symbol of people who had died in the Rising or had died in subsequent battles within the nationalist movement. Putting the two of them together like that, I suppose the idea was to show that these were about the individuals that are mixed together, the different faiths, the different outlooks, the different reasons somebody might have gone to war. They might have done it for economic reasons, for the sense of adventure. They might have done it out of ideological reasons. They might have done it because the promise of home rule came from assisting the British Empire. People had different reasons for being involved in the nationalist movement as well. So it's important, I think, to take these two iconic images and put them together to show that really at the end they belong to people.
We've been together as a committee over a year and a half. A lot of people did wonder why we were together so early, but when all the work started to roll in, people understood that it was good to get a good base in early, to get the right contacts, and to get the public involved. Took a long time to get everybody interested, one in their history and two that it was a community thing that they should all row in. And as you saw today, everybody did, so it was worth the work. We had three objectives. It was very simple. That first and foremost we'd be a community event. Whatever events we ran would be community based. Second of all, that we would keep it historical as we could. One, that we would document the history that did happen. Any new information we got, we'd document it. And that when the likes of reenactments and our Heritage Weekend, we'd base it on the history of 1914 and the history of our country. And the third thing, which everybody found very important and a lot of people didn't realise it was possible to do, was to keep politics out of it. People asked me, how did we manage to do that? Fairly simply, we asked everybody to be involved. So we had people from all the different backgrounds, all different political backgrounds, and it worked.
Monty and his men were to take the station house.
Apologies for the inconvenience, sir. Madam?
You've missed the last train, lads.
We believe that it was forgotten. I read a lot of historical books, and it has gone to a stage that the 1,500 rifles that were purchased in 1914, in a lot of books they were stated that there were 900 rifles bought. But to simplify the fact that 900 ended up in Chotah, and no one was going to ask questions where the other 600 go to, who was involved with the other 600, why were there two yachts. They simply forgot about the Kilcoole end of it. Only telling half the story isn't telling the story, so we had to make sure to put that back into the books, and I think we've succeeded.
It's wonderful to see this commemoration revived in such a spectacular fashion. The committee really do deserve to clap themselves on the back, and I commend them for all the work they've been doing. I've been involved in some commemorative activity myself over the years, United Irishmen and such. I'm aware how difficult it is to pull off an event such as this, and it is very pleasing indeed. It's also worth noting the successful engagement of the Irish government, of the Irish Defence Forces, of the UN veterans, of the reenactors, diverse groups that do not always work on the same page. And hopefully this is a good sign that the decade of commemorations, the centenaries, is moving into a higher gear, which will bring more and more people from diverse backgrounds under one roof to reconsider our often heroic past. The Hoth and the Kilcoole gunrunning operations and the whole matrix of things that underpin that are quite extraordinary. The drama of it is nearly unbelievable. If one was to conceive a script and send it to Hollywood, there's no way in hell it would be funded. It would simply be ludicrous to conceive of two wind-powered vessels, one party motor-powered vessel, rendezvousing not once but several times from here to the North Sea and on this beach behind us, and successfully importing 1,500 rifles and nearly 50,000 rounds of ammunition. It beggars belief that it worked, and it did. And that, of course, is a testament to the skill, the daring, the courage and the patriotism of those involved, representing the very best of our nation. The success of those operations, it wasn't simply about the number of weapons landed. It was the symbolism of it. It was a propaganda triumph of the highest order that electrified the entire situation of the Irish Volunteers. It put the House of Commons in London under pressure to do the right thing by Ireland. Now, unfortunately, things did not go as many would have wished it, but nonetheless, it is undoubtedly an important catalytic event. There are people who will be commemorating and celebrating the 1916 Rising. It is inconceivable that could have taken place without the success of Chotah Kilcoole. And again, not simply because of the war materiel, because of the excellent effect it had for those who wished a progressive, democratic, republican future in Ireland.
Very surprisingly to the Irish Volunteers, something that they didn't expect, the British started using artillery all over the inner city of Dublin. They brought up a gunship up the River Liffey to Helga and started to pound the GPO. By the middle of the week, by Thursday morning, the GPO was in flames. The Irish Volunteers worked very hard day and night to try and keep it under control. Please do well, lads. Get out yet. Cease fire!
Thank you. Right, where's the rest of your men? They've surrendered. Okay. They'll be marched out in a moment. Yeah, okay. Right turn. Volunteers, right, face. Forward, march. Forward, march. Right shoulder, forward.
I've never seen the likes of this in Kilcoole before, and I hope it's set off a precedent now where we can do this as an annual commemoration, even for a few years. The commemoration we've had this week shows that people do have pride in their past, and Kilcoole is a unique place. It's a fantastic place, and you don't have to be a genius to look at it and see. You look out there and you see the fantastic countryside, and you just breathing history. The people in it, their feet are really entrenched in the ground, and their heads are held high now. They are Kilcoole. It's not just a place on a map, it's the people. And today, this weekend, has proved that we've everything to live for, every great hope for the future. The kids, when they're in their turn, are adults with their children, the precedence is set. We are proud, we are here, and we're going to stay. It was great to see the coming together. There's very diverse people here, very opposing views, and yes, they were all put aside, and people have flowed out of their houses, gathered together on the main street in period costumes, dressed men as well as women, and the children were absolutely fantastic. The colour and the gaiety, and the market stalls there today, the pubs played a great role, the street music, absolutely fantastic.